The Naruto series likes to make it a point to test the thought process of the main character, which is standard practice for a shonen manga. Naruto is given this challenge by being introduced to multiple people with similar ideologies and wills to himself, just on the opposite end of the moral spectrum. Sasuke is the most clear example of this, but aside from Sasuke, there's also Gaara in part 1, with him being the Naruto that never experienced connections, making him into a kind of evil Naruto. However, there are many more examples of this idea than just Sasuke and Gaara, and in this video I'll go over all of the so-called evil Narutos in part 1 of the series and decide who represents it the best. This video could definitely have a part 2, so if you'd like to see it, make sure to like the video and subscribe to my channel. Starting in chronological order, the first we see of this evil Naruto idea is Haku, a Mist ninja who defected with Zabuza and holds immense skills as shinobi. Haku's talent is told to us by Kakashi, who says that he's even younger than Naruto but stronger than himself. He can tell this just by looking at Haku. Haku is just like Naruto in the sense that he uses his immense power to protect the people he cares about. But for Haku, the person he cares about happens to only be Zabuza. His closeness to Zabuza comes from the fact that Zabuza saved him during the lowest point in his life. Due to Haku's Kekkei Genkai, ice style, he was seen as an abomination by his father, who ended up killing his mother and trying to kill him. However, Haku, being as talented as he was, killed his own father in retaliation. This traumatic experience forced Haku to realize that he's truly alone in this world. But instead of being shut out by everyone, a single soul acknowledged his existence, Zabuza Momoshi, accepting everything that Haku was previously loathed for. Even if Haku was only accepted as a weapon, Zabuza became the person he lived for, and his most treasured person. This storyline is strikingly similar to what Naruto experienced in the first chapter. Naruto was born with something he had no control over and was hated by others, although no one seems to have went as far as to try and kill him. Mizuki ended up revealing Naruto's secret to him and telling him that even his own teacher doesn't care for him and despises him. But just as Naruto reaches his lowest point, Iruka reassures him of his importance in the world, accepting him for what others hate him for, becoming his most treasured person. The only real difference in Naruto and Haku's storylines is that one was picked up by a pretty immoral person. Realistically, Haku isn't truly evil. His intentions simply lie with the people he cares to protect, which sadly happens to be Zabuza. Anytime Haku isn't on the battlefield, you'd have no idea that he assisted an evil ninja like Zabuza. He spends his free time picking flowers and playing with birds. The databook even goes as far as saying that he's a truly kind boy who wouldn't spend life as a ninja if his heritage didn't force his hand. Haku's dedication to the people he loves runs just as deep as Naruto's, as he jumps in front of a sure death attack to save Zabuza's life. There's clear narrative emphasis on Haku and Naruto's duality, even in the cover of the volume that Haku dies in, but also in the fact that this being the first real arc of the show, forces Naruto to understand that this mindset that he has can be used for evil. Shinobi are seen simply as tools for their nation, but Naruto denies this ideology, denying the original meaning of the title of a ninja, founding his own ninja way. And that's why I believe that Haku and Zabuza were probably the best choice for the first real main villains of the Naruto series, and why I believe Haku is a great representation of the evil Naruto trope. The next entry on this list has a little more connection to Naruto and his upbringing, that being Gaara of the Desert. Gaara, as the name implies, hails from the Sand Village, and is the son of the Kazekage. However, simply because his heritage is high in status, doesn't mean his childhood was easy. In fact, it was far from it. Gaara was Rasha's youngest child, and the only child to be compatible with the tailed beast Shukaku. Shortly after Gaara's birth, his mother would pass away. However, other than this, his early life was fairly normal. His first 6 or 7 years of life consisted of being taught how to train as a ninja, but being born with the curse of the tailed beast, hard times were inevitable for him. Just like Naruto and Haku, Gaara had a most valuable person, and it seemed to be his uncle Yashimaru. Yashimaru always treated Gaara nicely and even assured him of the fact that he was loved. To summarize the less important parts of the story, Gaara would end up killing a civilian, and the Kazekage was an eyewitness to this. This is when Gaara's father Rasa shifted his view of Gaara from wanting him to be treated with care to simply viewing him as a giant liability. And in light of this realization, Rasa hired an assassin to attempt to take care of his liability. The assassin's attempt is foiled by Gaara's sand defense, and Gaara takes care of him with ease, and uncovers his identity as Yashimaru, the only person who showed him care. Yashimaru tells Gaara that this was a direct order from his father, which kind of reassures Gaara since he had no choice. But Yashimaru then tells him that he probably could have denied this order, and actively chose to try and kill Gaara because he hates him. He could never truly forgive Gaara for taking his sister. He even says that Gaara's mother never loved him or wanted him, which we learned later isn't true. Yashimaru then blows himself up in a last-ditch attempt to kill Gaara. This attempt on Gaara's life failed as well, but this whole encounter left him mentally broken. Unlike Naruto and Haku, whose most valued people saved him at their lowest moment, Gaara's most valued person shut him out and told him he was loved by no one. This left Gaara with the mindset to fight and survive only for himself. This idea is so engraved in Gaara that he believes the definition of the strongest is someone who fights only for themselves. Gaara routinely kills people for even simply looking at him wrong, because he believes that in killing, his existence in the world is reinforced. When Naruto and Gaara had their first formal talk before the shonen exams, Naruto immediately notices that their upbringings are remarkably similar, and that Gaara is just like him. He's all alone, in pain, and not knowing why. But Naruto had Iruka to bring him out of this state of depression. Gaara did not have this luxury. Naruto believed that Gaara was strong because he was able to crawl out of this state and still fight for himself and be exceptionally strong. But Naruto couldn't beat Gaara until way later, when he comes to the conclusion that you can't be truly strong while fighting only for yourself. By fighting for his comrades, Naruto brings out his true power when defeat seems imminent and gains the upper hand on Gaara, proving that bonds are what make strength. Gaara also believes that Naruto and he are one and the same, so after hearing him defend the meaningfulness of love, he truly gives it some thought and comes back stronger than before. Gaara changes his entire outlook on life and becomes almost unrecognizable, a truly kind and soft being. He even has an interesting interaction with Sasuke, but I'll go over that in part 2 of this video. Moving on to the next candidate, we have the most important character to the story, Sasuke Uchiha. Sasuke blatantly was made to be a rival and foil to Naruto's story. You can go into any random arc of Naruto and find at least one comparison between Naruto and Sasuke, if they're both present. Sasuke being born into the Uchiha clan was very talented and cared for. His early life was comparable to Gaara's. His early 7 years were lighthearted and filled with love, as well as the occasional shinobi training. He had a particularly close bond with his brother Itachi, who would brush him off due to his duties as a ninja, but it was never a question of if Itachi loved him. He played the role of a loving brother to a T. This idea is completely flipped on its head when Itachi mercilessly kills the Uchiha clan and tells Sasuke it was because he wanted to test the depths of his abilities. In contrast to Naruto, Sasuke lost everything he had after experiencing love, while Naruto never had the chance to experience a familial love in the first place. Itachi's actions forced Sasuke to have a deep-rooted hatred for him, and Sasuke became obsessed with the idea of killing Itachi to get revenge for his family. But the bloodlust that Sasuke had for Itachi was suppressed by the time that he spent with Team 7. And even though he could keep up his composure around them, someone like Gaara who knows great loneliness can tell that Sasuke's eyes are just like his, spilling with hatred and intent to kill. Sasuke's lust for power and the manipulation of Orochimaru's curse mark led Sasuke down a dark path. Another thing that contributed to Sasuke defecting from the village was his inferiority complex to Naruto. As a rival, he took Naruto very seriously, but would never say it out loud. After seeing Naruto's wide strides in power in comparison to himself, he thinks that he has to take more drastic measures to get more power, and him leaving to find Orochimaru would eventually lead to him and Naruto's final fight. And this final fight that they have here is very similar to the last fight that they have in the end of Shippuden. It's more than just a fist fight or a ninjutsu fight, it's a clash of ideologies. Naruto in their last fight could never understand the difference between he and Sasuke, and keeps the idea that they are one and the same, and this is the main reason that Naruto lost. The difference in Naruto vs Sasuke and Naruto vs Gaara is that Naruto understood the difference between he and Gaara. He accepted these differences, but with Sasuke, he couldn't truly understand him. The databook even directly says that no one can understand the enormity of the sadness that he felt watching his parents die. Naruto in the first part of the series wanted to feel connection with Sasuke so badly due to the similarities of their upbringings, but Naruto's need to feel connection to someone similar to him led him to being blind to the differences that they had inherently. Now with the 3 obvious picks out of the way, we can get into the most underrated person that fits in this trope, Kimimaro Kaguya, Orochimaru's strongest soldier as of part 1 of Naruto. Kimimaro is actually the main reason I made this video, because I think his narrative is pretty underrated and he has a very good connection with Naruto that's usually ignored. Kimimara's early life is strikingly similar to Haku's. They both come from Kekkei Genkai families and are ridiculously gifted for their age. Kimimaro's clan was a clan filled with bloodlust and rage. They attempted to take down the nation of Kirigakure and failed horribly. Orochimaru, however, after seeing their amazing Kekkei Genkai that he says has insane power, took in one of the clan's youngest survivors and nurtured him into his own mindset. This made Orochimaru Kimimaro's version of Iruka or Zabuza. He was given the Earth Curse Seal by Orochimaru, which has exceptional power even compared to the other Curse Seals, as it's the counterpart of Sasuke's Heaven Seal. Heaven and Earth in Naruto usually represent the mind and the body respectively. For Kimimaro and Sasuke's story, this could be a nod to the fact that while Sasuke's body is strong, his mind is weak, which is why he's easily manipulated and susceptible to jealousy. In contrast to Kimimaro, whose mind is strong while his body is weak. Kimimaro contracted an unnamed sickness that led to him being bedridden and unable to be healed by even Kabuto. However, in the wake of Sasuke's defection, the Sound Four were in a bind versus the Konoha Shinobi. This led to Kimimaro being sent out to the battlefield, even though Kabuto said he shouldn't even be able to move. When Kimimaro descends on the battlefield, he says that he no longer moves using his flesh, he simply uses the power of his mind. His sheer willpower and connection to Orochimaru allows him to fight at a ridiculous level even while dying in combat. He's such a strong trump card, even while sick, that Kabuto and Orochimaru believe that nobody can beat him that Konoha can deploy. This willpower is very similar to the will of fire that the leaf holds dear to them. Gaara even implies that Naruto and Kimimaro are similar by saying Kimimaro reminds him of Naruto, and even if somebody is precious to you, it doesn't mean they're necessarily good. But no matter how evil they are, it's hard to overcome your own solitude after being led in by someone else. All in all, I think the best foil for Naruto is obviously Sasuke, no need to elaborate on that, but second place is Gaara. Gaara and Naruto are the only people in part 1 who have Biju, and Gaara's introduction was clearly just to show us how easy it would have been for Naruto to fall into evil. Third place is very close between Haku and Kimimaro, and I honestly think it might be a tie. I can't really find any trait that one of them has that the other one doesn't on this topic specifically. But let me know in the comments down below who you think represents the evil Naruto trope the best and who I should include in part 2 of this video.